Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Greene. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Greene is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
Why do so many businesses struggle while others seem to explode overnight? Do you wish you had the secret to this type of exponential growth? Now, I've scaled more than 20 businesses to over $100 million, and it's not just luck. In my new book with Mark Tim, Mentor to Millions, you'll learn the repeatable framework I use in all my business ventures for massive success. Order at kevinmentor.com and get over $1,000 in bonuses. Head to kevinmentor.com.
Welcome to the podcast. This is your host, Seth Greene. Today, I've got the good fortune to be joined by my longtime friend and colleague, Dan Cricks. Dan is the founder and CEO of Results Marketing, LLC. He's a marketing business coach and consultant, a mastermind coach, a nationally known speaker, and multiple serial successful entrepreneur. Dan, thanks so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
My pleasure. So let's go back in time for the folks watching and listening at home who may not know your story. How did you get into this crazy business in the first place?
Well, actually, I got into it by accident. You know, I've owned and operated several businesses over the years. And a number of years ago, I came across some Dan Kennedy marketing information, and I started applying it to my retail business that I had at the time. And lo and behold, it worked. And
amazing.
Isn't it? And, you know, I always knew that marketing was a key. I just didn't really know how to do it the right way. So I was like many small business owners and entrepreneurs and even medium-sized business owners, I was kind of flailing around. I knew what I should do. I just didn't know the right way to do it. Okay. And I'm the kind of person that a lot of advertisers love because I will spend a lot of money, or at least I used to, trying to make something happen and really not doing it the right way, letting them do it for me, which was a mistake. But anyway, I started having some good success with my business and really had success when the economy took a nosedive. And so people started asking me, hey, what are you doing? And I started sharing some of those things with folks. And then they started asking me if I would help them. And they were happy to pay. And so I started doing that on a small basis and wasn't real happy with having, you know, the right formula for making that work. And then Dan Kennedy came out with a program where I was able to get trained by him personally, him and Bill Glazer. And I was among the first group of people to do that. And I got trained and certified. And I got a nice plan and a way to get great leads to do that. And off I went. And then I also got involved with a niche, which was my retail business at the time, the auto repair niche. I started working with auto repair shop owners all over the country. You know, at first I started for free. I had associations saying, hey, would you come and speak at our event and share with folks? And the very first one was locally. And I was sharing with them what I was doing that was working for me. And I had other shop owners going, that won't work in my neighborhood. And I said, you're a half a mile away from me. It does work. And so at some point, Seth, I got frustrated with hearing people say it wouldn't work. And I decided I didn't want to do that anymore. I was traveling and doing it for free. And then I spoke at an event in Arizona, a room full of about 300 shop owners. And I sold a product, my first product. And I got 20 minutes on stage. And you'll appreciate how short of the time that is. And I spent the first few in the intro, and I sold a little over 90% of the room.
Wow.
Yeah, that was, you know, that thing about ignorance being bliss. I was unhappy that it wasn't more than 90%. I thought everybody should have bought it.
Well, that's good that you believe in what you were offering you.
Exactly. And so from there, it really took off. And so a lot of success within my niche. Within 90 days, I had 72 paying members as coaching clients. And then the working with the other general businesses took off. And a fun little story about that, I had an attorney who was in a networking group with me, asked me if I would work with him and help him to grow his practice. He was an assistant DA, wanted to go into his own practice and wanted some help. And I really didn't want to work with him because there's a lot of rules and what have you governing attorneys and their marketing and what have you. So I was fortunate to have a conversation with Dan Kennedy and told him my challenge. And he said, well, the only way you'll get him to respect you is to charge more than he does per hour. So that wasn't difficult for me because I really didn't care if I got him as a client anyway. And so when I presented price to him, he was all in. And then when I presented price, he said, wow, you charge more than I do. And I said, that's because I'm worth more than you are.
Wow.
And I explained to him, I said, without me, you're not going to grow your practice. And so he came on board. And the first ad I did for him was so successful that his competitors were calling and complaining.
That's always a good sign.
Right. You know what that means. And he panicked and called me. And I said, no, that's a good thing. That means people are noticing. And basically, you're calling them out, if you will. And so from there, away we went. Like I said, it was pretty much an accident. If you would have told me a year before that, I'd be on stage in front of 1,200 people, giving presentations at GKIC events and what have you, I would have told you there's no way.
Well, I mean, it's an incredible journey that you've been on, and obviously it's gone on since then. The majority of our listeners obviously are business owners and entrepreneurs. What are some of the biggest mistakes you see folks like that making when it comes to trying to grow their business?
Well, when it comes to marketing, not getting the right help. And when I say the right help, there's a lot of people out there, Seth, this probably better than I do. There's a lot of marketing people out there that really don't have the credentials, if you will, and don't have a proven track record. And so, not getting good help. And as I mentioned, for a long time, I thought I could market. I thought everybody can market. That's easy, right? And I really did know, and I wasted a lot of money. And when I got help is when things really started to take off for me. So finding help, a lot of folks think they should be able to do that. I own my own business. I should be able to do that. Most have never had marketing training or an education. I have a lot of people that I've worked with who are have marketing degrees, and we know what they teach you in college versus what the real world teaches you is very different. And in a lot of cases, folks out there are what I call advertising victims, because they're listening to the people trying to sell them ads or SEO or Facebook ads or whatever it is, whose main goal is to extract money from them. And so the people who you hire to help you market, their job is to help you have success. And for me, the name of my company is Results Marketing, and I picked that for a reason. It really is all about the results. And so, a lot of people don't want to spend the money, and they really shouldn't. They should invest in the right person to help them. And if they're listening to your podcast, they've already got a great connection with you. So they're good in that vein. And then when you do, and I was on another podcast recently, listen to what they tell you. I have so many clients that have spent money with me, and it takes them 6 months to start listening. So do what they tell you. If you get somebody that you've vetted, you can trust, has that proven track record and those credentials, listen to what they're telling you. They have your best interest in mind.
Absolutely. Now, let's dive in a little deeper. How have you, you've done a lot of good for a lot of businesses. And I think we fall into the trap as business owners. We think we just have to be good at what we do. If we just do a good job, people will find us, people will tell others, and that will be enough. You talk a lot in some of the books that you've written and participated in some of the masterminds that you lead, about why meeting expectations isn't enough. Can you share a little bit about that here?
Sure. And you must have really read my whole history, because that's really what propelled me to get marketing help. I mentioned I was in a retail business. I owned an auto repair shop. And I would have a lot of customers come to me and say, wow, you guys do such a great job. Wow, you guys are wonderful. Wow, I love you guys. And at one point, somebody said that to me, and I said, yeah, that's great. I wish there were more of you. Okay. And just like you said, we did a great job. We were honest. We took good care of people. But if you can't get that word out, that really doesn't matter a whole lot. There's a lot of restaurants that have great food that have failed. Okay. The owner is a great chef. A lot of repair shops are great mechanics. A lot of dentists who are great dentists, but not enough people know. And you have to be able to get that word out. And the thing is, there's a lot of competition. There is a ton of competition. So the people that are doing a good job of marketing and getting the word out and sharing that information with people are the ones that win. They're the ones that have the success. I know a lot of businesses that aren't as good as some of my clients who do more business just because they do a better job of getting the word out.
For sure. And that's obviously where all of the direct response marketing comes in. Talk a little bit about, you have a concept you teach called surprise and delight. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, yeah. So, you always want to exceed expectations. Today, that's not a real high bar in today's world with so many businesses being shorthanded and not being able to really deliver for people. And so when you can exceed those expectations, for many people, that's a surprise and they absolutely love it. The other thing is we like to give them things that they don't expect within the realm that they're in. So for example, in the auto repair shop, one of the first things that I started doing that no other shops were doing, and I learned this from the dentist world, is after they would come in and have their car repaired, the next day we would call them up. And we would just call them up and say, hi, this is Brookgate Tire and Auto. We're just calling to make sure you were happy with our service and that everything's okay with your vehicle. And they were blown away by that. They were absolutely blown away by that. And wow, my doctor doesn't even do that. And then the other thing is we would send them something in the mail, an unexpected small gift. And so we would surprise them with those gifts, and nothing better to get something that you weren't expecting. And I even had one client send me a testimonial, and these are his words. It said, Dan wowed me in my last visit to his shop.
Wow.
Yeah. And so when you can do that, that helps you stand out, which again, with the amount of competition out there, any way you can stand out. And one of the things that I found by doing those kinds of things, and I've done this with a lot of our clients, is now they start telling their friends, family, and coworkers about our business. And that's the ultimate goal, because referral business is the pinnacle.
100%. What are some other ways? I know that you talk a lot about systematic referral marketing not asking your, hey, who else do you know I could help, but really building a referral culture. What does that mean? And give us the short version of how do we do that?
Well, first of all, the culture is critically important. Your team has to know that that's a goal, okay? And they have to know that why we want more referrals, that those are the best kind of clients we can get, and what their role is in doing that, okay? And their first step is by wowing that customer, okay? And then looking for opportunities to ask them for okay? Referrals have to be, a lot of people think, well, I did a good job, they were real happy, so they'll automatically refer. The mistake we make is they're not thinking about us like we think about us every day. And so one of the things that I say is we have to have real estate with our clients in three spaces: one in their workspace, one in their car because they spend so much time in their car, and one in their home, so that there's a constant reminder if they think about us, and we're constantly doing that, putting things out there, staying in touch with them on a regular basis. We make it easy for them to refer us. If they're on their phone at work, they've got something with our phone number real handy. So if someone says, geez, I really could use a dentist right now, I moved to this new area, boom, they've got something there from their dentist. If they're driving in their car, how many people talk on the phone when they're in their car, right? So they've got it there, and in their home. And the culture everybody has to be on board. They're looking for opportunities to get referrals and to even ask for referrals in the right way.
I think that makes a lot of sense. How has your advice, if at all, changed during the pandemic?
Well, so I don't know that it's changed a whole lot. Okay. The biggest thing that I would say is because of the pandemic, we have to find more media ways to touch folks. Okay. And you remember this, you've been around long enough. It used to be a number of years ago that if you were in the phone book, that was it. Okay. And then we were trying to get email addresses. Now we have to reach people, some of them via social media. A few years ago, I had clients in my niche that didn't do anything on social media. Now they're all over it. Okay. So we use text, we use voice broadcasts, we use direct mail, we use email. And that's another thing. A couple of years ago, we were saying, stay away from text. People feel that's very personal. They don't want to be interrupted by businesses. That's changed. So, and with the pandemic, that kind of put that stuff on steroids where, a lot of people thought email was dead. And I'm sure you know this, during the pandemic, email open rates skyrocketed. Okay, they absolutely skyrocketed. And so probably the biggest change is we now have to reach out with more media to be able to get through to people.
You are absolutely right. You have achieved so much success, not only in your business, but more importantly, for those of your clients. What is your biggest challenge now?
The balancing act is the biggest challenge right now. So for example, with my niche in the auto repair, working with auto repair shop owners, and I've worked with shop owners all over the world, Russia, Australia, UK, the pandemic has been great for them. So their sales, they're as busy as can be. They don't want to hear me talk about how I can grow your sales. Most of them have more than they can handle. Their challenge now is they don't have enough qualified technical help. Technicians are very, there's a big shortage, over 100,000 nationally. And so they're very busy, and then they don't have enough people to get the work done. So one of the shifts that I've made is helping them find that help. So that's been one of the big changes. And then on the flip side, the people, the general businesses, and I've worked with over 140 different industries. Some of them, the economy has really started to hurt them, and they've had to make some changes, have to make offerings where people can buy down, if you will. And we see that happening where a lot of people going to the grocery store were buying name brands. Now, because of the inflation, they're buying more store brands. So I'm recommending that people have a buy down offer available to folks to be able to get them in the mix, and then maybe at a later date upsell them to something else, but have something for them when it comes to buy down. Otherwise, they'll go somewhere else.
Absolutely. Your passion is obvious. What do you like best about what you're doing?
Oh, I love being able to help people and make a difference and see their lives change. I got a testimonial from a client a while back, and then his wife called me, and that's really cool. He sent me a note saying, hey, I just wanted to say thank you because of what you've been able to do for me. For the first time in 7 years, I could afford to go on vacation with my family.
Wow.
Yeah. And his wife called me up and said, thank you so much. He's never been able to go. He couldn't afford to leave the business. We had a hard time paying the bills, so on and so forth. So those kinds of things are what keeps me going and what I love about doing it. And I know you'll relate to this. I love the challenge. Okay. So one example, you may have saw this in some of my stuff. I had a chiropractor reach out to me to join my mastermind group, and I'm in the Cleveland area, and I saw he was in Chicago, and I said, you realize this is a local group and you're in Chicago? He goes, yeah, that's okay. I'm moving to Indiana and it'll only be a 5-hour drive. And I said, wow. Okay. Well, the thing is, he had a thriving practice in Chicago, but he was tired of the rat race. He was tired of dealing with the insurance companies who didn't want to pay, took 90 days to pay. And he went from Chicago, Amish country in Indiana, opened up a brand new practice, had never lived there before. And he joined my mastermind group, and we were working with him. And he said, he called me one day, he goes, I gotta move faster. What can we do? And so he became a private consulting client. First year, we went from opening the doors to 2.1 million in a year. And And so that's the challenge, because as you know, in the Amish country, you don't have the internet, you don't have TV, you don't have radio, you don't have phone. So that was a challenge, and it was fun. Okay. We had to do some things a little differently, in some ways, old school stuff, but it worked, and it worked very well. And goes back to something I said earlier. What I give kudos to this chiropractor about is he did everything I told him to do. He followed the plan, stayed with it, trusted me, and the reward was there. 2.1 million in 1 year is pretty cool.
That is absolutely incredible. Well, we know your time is incredibly valuable. We greatly appreciate you spending some of it with us. For our folks watching or listening, where can they go to learn more about you?
Well, so they can go to my website and get a pretty cool free report if they'd like. It's greatresultsmarketing.com. That's greatresultsmarketing.com. And there's a free report there, the top 10 mega marketing mistakes that entrepreneurs make. And in there, how they can stop being an advertising victim. So, and transparency, one of the things I tell them in there is not getting help with their marketing, not getting qualified, professional, vetted help.
Awesome. Well, we greatly appreciate your time again. This has been Seth Greene with Dan Cricks of Great Results Marketing. Thank you, everybody, for watching or listening. We will talk to you or see you next time. Dan, thanks again for joining us.
Thank you. I enjoyed it.
Do you need money to fund your idea, product, or service? Are you ready to take your business to the next level, but need capital to get it done? Kevin Harrington has heard more than 50,000 pitches and knows how to help you make the perfect pitch to get the funding for your entrepreneurial dream. He's distilled the process down in his perfect pitch cheat sheet, and it's yours for free. Just text PITCH to him right now at 727-888-2100. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 right now and claim your free perfect pitch cheat sheet. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 to start funding your dream today.
This show has been produced by Market Domination, LLC. To discover how you can have your own show completely done for you and turn it into a real published book and become the authority in your marketplace, go to www.marketdominationllc.com/podcast offer.